My name is Karen Barbito, and I'm the Director of Programming at Support After Abortion, and your host for the very first Support After Abortion Healing Network live Facebook broadcast. I am so glad that you're here with us today. We have a really great day for you. But first, before we get to our guests, let me just tell you a little bit about Support After Abortion. We started in June of 2017 as an after-abortion healing program for a pregnancy center in Southwest Florida. And like most after-abortion programming in pregnancy centers, we offered one option, a Bible study, and we offered it 2 times a year. So we were helping like 8 to 10 people, and we thought we were really helping the clients that came through our pregnancy center door. And it wasn't until we did some research where we found out that there's 1 million abortions performed in this country every year, or at least nearly 1 million, and that 1 in 4 women by the age of 45 will have an abortion, and that 50% of the abortions are performed on somebody that's already had one, that we very quickly realized that 8 to 10 people a year was not sufficient. So we started looking into options. How could we make it more convenient for people to connect that were hurting after an abortion? And so we developed an options-based, people-focused, meet them where they are kind of model. And that's really what brings us here today, because even with our ability to help more people than we could, I mean, last year we helped nearly 1,000 people, it's still not enough with the millions out there that are grieving. And so one of the things that we really want to do with this live broadcast is to collaborate with national leaders of after-abortion service providers, where you can hear what they're doing and how to get connected with their ministries and their resources. We want to link arms and collaborate across this nation so that we can collectively increase our capacity to help those who are hurting. So that's enough about Support After Abortion. You can go to the Facebook Live where March for Life features Support After Abortion on April 1st and hear more about the history of our ministry. That was the day, April 1st was the day that we separated from that pregnancy center and became our own entity. And so now I'll just tell you a little about me, about why I'm sitting in this seat. You know, I've done just about everything wrong that a person could do wrong. And one of those includes having an abortion when I was in college. And I struggled with it for years afterward. It took me down a really dark road of alcoholism and drug abuse. And, you know, I just struggled for decades. And it wasn't until I was facing some pretty serious consequences that I got it right. You know, I set down the drink and the alcohol, and I really chased after God, and I started studying the kind of woman that He wanted me to be and what He had purposed me for. And I truly believe that God doesn't waste any of our pain. And I went through that so I could sit in this chair today and show love to those that are struggling after abortion. So if you're out there, and if you or someone you know has had an abortion, we're going to give you the information that you need today so that you can get plugged in to healing, because there is hope and healing after abortion. So what can you expect today? You're going to hear from Sheila and Jack Harper. Their ministry is called SaveOne, and you're going to hear how they got started. You know, what's the why behind their what? And then Jack, who is the director of their men's program, is going to share with us how men grieve differently after an abortion experience, and how can we engage with men differently than the way that we engage with women. You know, and then we're going to also talk about how they've grown their ministry over the years. They started from nothing, and now I think they're in, 32 countries, and they have 9 books translated into 20 different languages. You know, they've got some strategies that have worked for them and some pitfalls. So if you're a pregnancy center or a ministry that wants to grow outside of your local region, they're going to have some really great information for you today. And then lastly, we're going to talk about everything virtual. That's the world we're living in today. And we're going to find out what we can do to not meet since we can't meet face-to-face in person anymore in small groups. How are we going to adapt? Because people are still out there having abortions, and people are still out there hurting. So we need to be able to make sure that happens. So let me introduce our special guest. Today we have Sheila Harper with us. She is the founder and president of SaveOne. It's an international outreach ministry for men, women, and families suffering in silence after an abortion. She holds a master's degree in biblical counseling and is the author of 9 books. SaveOne, A Guide to Emotional Healing After Abortion, her first book, has been translated and distributed in 20 languages. SaveOne currently has 285 chapters in 23 countries. Welcome, Sheila. Thanks for
Thank
being here
you.
today.
Well, it's our honor. Thank you. I feel so honored that we're your first guest. Thank you.
know some people might think they're my guinea pigs.
That's right.
Since we're working on all the technical stuff. And this man to my, sitting over here, I don't know which direction it is for you, is Jack Harper. He is the vice president and men's director for SaveOne. He has fought in the battle for the unborn since the inception of SaveOne in 2000. So they've been around 20 years now. Jack has supported SaveOne as a board member, a liaison to the global church, a travel partner, and through financial support. In 2018, God very clearly spoke to both Sheila and Jack about coming together and Jack joining in full-time ministry on the staff of SaveOne. So welcome, Jack. I'm so glad that you're here with us today.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Yeah, we're really glad to have you. Yeah. So let's just get right into it, because I know that there are people out there that just want to hear everything that you have to say and can learn from you. So Sheila, why don't you begin and tell us how you got into this ministry? What's the why behind your what?
Well, how I got into this ministry, it probably started when I had my own abortion in 1985. I remember the literal date, March 29th, 1985. And I hated myself for 7 years after that. I wanted to die. I tried to die. I attempted suicide, and I couldn't figure out a way to deal with the aftermath of this choice. I thought it was going to take care of all my problems, and it didn't. It just opened up a bunch of new ones. And I finally found my way to a pregnancy center, much like the ones that are out today that everybody's working at. I found my way to one of those centers, and they had simply advertised an after abortion care Bible study. And I was thrilled, because I thought there are enough people who are suffering that they actually had to form a class. It was this incredible discovery. And so I went to the class, and I just found incredible healing. I got connected to Jesus. He's the one who healed me inside and out, showed me how to forgive myself and accept his abundant life he came to give me. And I was set free from this self-imposed prison that I had put on myself. And so from that, I loved that feeling so much. I wanted to make sure other people knew that they could be free from this as well. And so, I was so thankful to that pregnancy center for helping me. So I wanted to give back. I started volunteering. We started donating. I started working there at the center. And before long, I was teaching their abortion recovery classes and loving every minute of it. And then we got transferred to another city, moved to Nashville, Tennessee. And it was there that we started SaveOne. I simply went to my church, asked them if I could teach an abortion recovery Bible study. They said yes. On the very first night, I heard a woman say, if I could just save one unborn baby, I would be willing to tell my story. And it was like all the lights went off, the bells and whistles, because I remembered in that other city where we lived in Chattanooga, I had heard in every class I taught, I heard a woman say that exact same phrase. And so I started questioning God, what is it that you want me to know about that phrase? And he started showing me how these women and now men and family members needed a platform to tell their stories, because their stories are so powerful, because that's the truth. That is what abortion really looks like. The people who come out of this choice and their life is a wreck and they find forgiveness through Jesus. And so we started developing SaveOne, and it has just been a whirlwind ever since we started, like you said, 20 years ago.
That's awesome, Sheila. Thank you so much for all of that and your transparency. But you left one thing out. I think, at least I didn't hear it, that how you heard about this class was on the radio, right?
Yeah.
So all of you pregnancy centers that are out there listening, go to your local Christian radio station and see if they'll advertise a class that you're going to have. It's a great another marketing tool that you can use. So thank you for that, Sheila.
Can I just add to that? It has to be specific to the abortion wounded. You can't say we're a pregnancy center and, oh yeah, and we offer abortion recovery. This radio commercial was specifically straight to my heart. You're suffering after an abortion, we have help for you. And it was just like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. So you have to make that distinction.
That's good. Thank you for that, Sheila. That's really good. So Jack, let's hear from you. You know, your wife, I know Sheila very well, and she has told me that she was married to you for 2 years before she told you that she had your abortion. And I can just imagine what hearing that news was like for you. Would you share? And I can imagine that there's other couples in a similar situation that maybe have navigated through it or maybe have not. And so what kind of wisdom do you have for those people out there who one of their spouse or their partner had an abortion before they were in a relationship, and how that can impact you even though you weren't part of that experience?
Yeah, when we met and when we got married, we were a hot mess. So when on the pre-show you mentioned that you had been involved with drugs and alcohol, and that was very much a part of our life. That was our lifestyle. It wasn't a part of our lifestyle. Everything revolved around me drinking. I mean, we didn't go to restaurants without drinking. You know, I mean, it was just, we were a hot mess. And so at the time, we had been married about 1.5 years, and she, you know, her issues were her issues, my issues were my issues, but she was really struggling, and we knew that she was struggling, but we just didn't have a place to understand what exactly it was.
It was probably 1.5 years, and in the secret, we had shared everything with each other, but that one thing, it was like I kept it, and I thought, if I ever tell him what I've done and who I really am at the core, that I could make this choice, he will leave me, divorce me, take our kids, because by this time we had 2 small children. He just loved me through it. He wasn't mean about it. He was shocked, of course, because I had held this secret for so long, but he was relieved, because it was like, okay, now we know what's wrong with you, because I was struggling so badly. And so we immediately, I found a secular psychologist and went to her for a little while, and she messed me up more than anything else could have. And I'm not against counseling at all, but it was just, she made me feel more horrible about the abortion because she couldn't believe I had regret and shame attached to it. And so finding my way to that Bible study was a lifesaver. It was absolutely wonderful.
There you go. Wow, that's awesome. So Jack, I have a question for you. You know, as the director of your men's program, I would imagine that men grieve differently after abortion than women do. And how can we reach men in the way that will serve them best, and not just treat them like we would any other woman that would be going through healing?
Yeah, so I mean, we all grieve. For a long time, we've been told that men don't grieve the abortion, that men don't have the emotions, and we're not a barbaric society. I mean, we're people that hurt when we lose a child, and so that applies with men as well. One of the things that's different with men is the anger issue comes as one of the symptoms of the post-abortion. And so in that anger, it becomes so violent at times that it borders on rage. And so that's one of the differences that we see. And then also pornography. Pornography is a big issue. So as I have led men through the studies and walked through with them, almost every one of them either has one or the other or both. So how do we do it differently? You have to understand that to be able to speak to it. And then on the bigger scale of being able to talk with men, we have to open the dialogue. And for so many years, the dialogue wasn't opened. It was just the women's issue. And then the other side ingeniously has been pushing back on it, saying, look, this is a woman's issue. It's not a men's issue. And so men have kind of stepped back, but now they are coming forward, and they're coming forward powerfully. When we started in 2018 at the end of the year, we had been ministering to men since probably 2003, 2004. But now we had somebody to carry that from the men's side, which was me. So it's been incredible. Prior to last year, I don't know that we had ever had the numbers that we had as far as men wanting to be involved in it. 10% of the trainings that we did last year, or the people that we trained to be leaders with SaveOne, were men last year. And that's a big number, a big jump.
Yeah, that's really great. I'm going to show the video again for those of you that came in late. We have a video that shows some of our first quarter numbers, and our statistics are very similar. You know, that it's about 60-40 women, and the other 40 is men and family members that we've been serving. And so I know that you have books for each of those populations. Do you guys have them?
Yeah, we've got them right here. You want me to show them?
Yeah, so let's show the audience the women's book so they would know what it might look like. There's a bit of a reflection, but it's called SaveOne. Can you read the title for us, Sheila?
A Guide to Emotional Healing After Abortion.
Okay, and you wrote that book, is that right, Sheila?
Yes, I wrote this book back in 2002, and it's the one that is being used around the world, and it's the one that's been translated into 20 languages. And then this is the men's study. This is the one that I wrote in 2004 or sometime like that. But then when Jack came on full time, he took it and rewrote it from a man's standpoint and made it 10 times better, because it now appeals to men, because it's not a man's study written by a woman.
Right. And that's really crucial. And there's not many of them out there, in all honesty.
That's right.
You know, so very unique. And so let's talk about those family members. You have a really great term for that. And so why don't you tell us about the peripheral people that are impacted by abortion, right?
Yes. That is, we call it the ripple effect. And it's a third Bible study that I wrote. Can you see it without the glare?
Yep.
The ripple effect. And it is mainly for friends and loved ones and the family members who grieve this child, but were never allowed to. We started having grandparents and people who drove someone to an abortion clinic 20 or 30 years ago, who would come through these classes and they were grieving having a part in this abortion. And so the ripple effect, the men's study and the women's study all mirror each other. So it's easy to have one abortion recovery class, but then also invite everybody and minister to the entire family.
Yeah.
It's beautiful how God has set it up.
That is really, really great. Thank you so much for sharing them. And at the end of this show, we're going to tell you where you can go to purchase those books and how you can contact them if you want to get in one of their support groups of those 3 different topics that they just talked about. Okay, and so we started when we lost you there for a minute, Jack. We moved ahead for a question, so we're going to come back to that. No going anywhere anymore, right?
Yeah.
The technology is working. Don't move. Do not move from your position. So let's talk about how you guys have started from nothing 20 years ago, and now you have 9 books. You have chapters around the world, and how many countries did you say?
23.
23 different countries, you know, and like, how did you do that? What kind of strategy did you put in place, and what kind of pitfalls did you see? And then, so let's start there, because I have a bigger question to ask beyond that. So,
well, I wish I could say this was our 9-point strategy and lay it all out for you in an outline, but literally, I am not kidding you. This is the answer. When I first started SaveOne, I promised God I would go wherever, I would speak to whomever, and I would do whatever it takes to get the job done. And so I don't have, when a door opens, I walk. SaveOne walks through it. We don't have to stop and ask God, should we not, because I've told him I'm going to go. You know, I promised you this, I'm going to go. So if I'm not supposed to, you have to physically stop me. And he has on occasion physically stopped me from going places. But like when we got the opportunity to fly into the Middle East, that was not somewhere that I ever thought like, oh yeah, I want to go fly into, you know, Istanbul and Armenia and, you know, in the Middle East. But I knew the door is open, we're going to go. And it worked out beautifully. But it saves a lot of time, and it saves a lot of angst when you just say, God, you have my yes. And so whatever you put before us. And so I feel like that has been a lot of our success, because we worked it out early on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Thank you for your yes, right? I feel the very same way. You know, I mean, I didn't go through the things that I went through to sit at home and not help other people that are hurting with the very same thing that God has created me as an overcomer in, right? All those
That's right.
obstacles were thrown aside. And so, yes, thank you for your yes. Yeah, that's really great. And
Well,
so when you grow to a capacity like that, you have to replicate yourself, right? You guys started out doing after abortion healing groups yourselves, but then you had to replicate yourself, and now you've had to replicate like exponentially. So tell me what that process is like. How do you train up leaders? How do they find you? How do you find them? What's the process that you go through to maintain that kind of volunteer staff and to make sure that they're leading your groups in the way that you want them to be led, right?
Yes.
Like, so that accountability piece of it all.
Well, and tell me if I leave out anything, because we do a lot, but we make the process so easy. The way that God showed us how to set this thing up, we made it just so easy. First of all of our chapters, we hold them very loosely. We don't own them. We're not in charge of them, but we do set up some accountability measures. If a person comes to us and they want to start teaching SaveOne at their church, to be an officially recognized chapter of SaveOne and to be listed on our website and given free advertising like that, all they have to do is have their ministry leader, pregnancy center director, or pastor's approval. And if they have their approval as an approved leader in their church or their ministry, then who are we to question that, you know? And so if they have that, they fill out this little form, they send it in to us, and then we get them trained. And we train in 3 different ways now, thanks to the pandemic. We would go to your place of business or wherever your church or pregnancy center, Jack and I, and then we have 2 other trainers who will travel and go and do an all-day training with them and whoever is the leader and the staff. And then we also have a digital training where all our training videos are on a flash drive. You can order it right off our website and watch all our training videos and you're ready to go. Or now we have just lately developed an online training where we've held 2 so far since the pandemic. We held 2 in April that were a huge success. We're so happy with them. And on one of them, we had more men than women on the call being trained as leaders. So that made me so happy. And we have 2 more coming up on May 16th and May 30th. So if anybody watching wants a refresher course, or if you want to learn how to teach SaveOne, join us. But we have those trainings. But then after you're trained and you're set up and you're listed on our website and you're ready to go, we pour into our leaders. We are a strong network of chapters. First of all, the SaveOne staff, we have a Facebook page that's just for the staff. And we have a series of articles that we write once a week called Love, Life, and Lead. And as you can see, that's kind of like our unofficial slogan, Love Life. It's our t-shirts. But Love, Life, and Lead. And we just pour into a leadership principle into the staff. And then they, in turn, are over all of our chapters. So we have chapter coordinators over every state and country that we're in. And so they, in turn, are in touch with all of their chapter leaders. The chapter leaders also hear from us once a week with an article with a different subject. Like one week it could be productivity, and then another week is how are you, like your self-care, encouragement, outreach, that type of thing. So we're constantly pouring into them, staying in touch with them to make sure they're okay. Because as you know, there's so much spiritual warfare that surrounds the subject. I want to know that our leaders are okay and they feel connected, because in this world where we're all, like our staff is from Europe to Oregon to Florida, Tennessee. I mean, we're so spread out. So we have to work on purpose to stay connected and feel like we're bonded together.
That's really good.
No, loosely held, probably.
Oh, we are. I said all our chapters are very loosely held. We don't come in and say, you got to do things our way.
Okay, that's good to know. You know, so for anybody out there that wants to reach beyond their local area, how they might be able to do that, and that chapter model might be the way to go. And so the other thing I wanted to ask you about is, I know that you hold summits. So tell me about these summits, and are your chapter leaders invited to come, or are they required to do any of these trainings, or?
Yeah, they're not required, but definitely invited. We ask everybody that's possible to come and to participate with us. We generally do it on Thursday night to begin with, and then we have all day Friday and Saturday. We have some incredible leaders, nationally recognized leaders. Brad Mattis has been with us several times, and then Dr. Martha Shuping, and then some local pastors and people who are chapter coordinators across the states. Everybody, if we can find a spot to put them in to hear and glean from them, then that's what we're doing. And then we have a good time as well. I mean, we're not just there for a long seminar and then leave. We want to connect relationally with people, and so that's a big part of what we do as well. So we just had an incredible time. And this past year, I think we had 90-something leaders that came in. Yeah, I
think right at 100. Yeah. But we have it every other year in America, and then every other year in Europe. And we had it this past October, and then this coming October, it's going to be held. The SaveOne Europe team is planning everything, and it's going to be held in Vienna, Austria. So I'm so excited. I can't wait.
That's really exciting. That's really exciting. Well, thank you so much. I know there's people that are watching today that are going to just have some great takeaways from this, and for support after abortion, our vision is to see a world restored from the impact of abortion, right? And the only way that we can do that is by influencing the way the world provides restoration services, right? Through innovation, education, and collaboration. And so this is a big piece of that for us, is to for people to find out who's out there, what other ministries are available. We want to plug people in. So our model, which is the options-based model, it's really important to us that we plug people into a program that is meeting them where they are, that takes into consideration their lifestyle, their schedule, and their beliefs, right? And so we just love that we can collaborate with all these different ministries, and you're going to see them over the weeks on my show, the Support After Abortion Healing Network. I can't even believe I just said that. That was
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And so finally, let's just talk everything virtual, right? That's what we're living in. And tell me how that's impacted your ministry, positively, negatively. Let's just hear it.
Well, one thing that we have been blessed with is that long ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago, we already started classes via online. And so it wasn't a huge transition for us. And so I was so thankful for that, because everything is virtual now. But we have had several classes that we heard about that started in February, and in the middle of March had to transition onto the virtual platforms, and they did it just fine, seamlessly. And so I've loved hearing that. But being able to do one-on-ones, that's usually what we had been doing already. If someone doesn't have a SaveOne chapter near them, we get them hooked up with a chapter leader that has time to and wants to do this one-on-one. It's all free of charge. The only cost to the participant is to buy the book, and it's $12. So they have to have some skin in the game to appreciate it. So but doing everything virtual, it hasn't really been a huge transition, because we had been doing that before. The main thing is the training, getting to transition onto that. But if you're waiting to hold classes until everything gets back to normal, I would encourage you, if you're watching this, just try it. Try going online, checking out Zoom, and seeing how user-friendly it is and easy it is to do a virtual call. And it's just like this. You feel like you're together, and you can see each other and talk and hold it just like a regular class. And so I just encourage you to try it.
Karen, one of the things that we have realized is we have 285 chapters, and we think that's great. We know it should be more, but we're not in every city in America. We're not in every city around the world. And we get calls and we get emails asking for help. And so we can connect somebody, and have just this last fall, we connected somebody in Nashville to somebody in Greece. And they were able to do this very thing of walk through the study online. And like Sheila said, it's been happening for 2 or 3 years or more. So it's a great tool.
Yeah, I mean, we have the capacity now to reach so many people from all over the country.
Yeah.
In fact, this week and next week, we're starting 5 different groups. They're not all after abortion, but we know that people that have had abortion have, let me name the 5 groups for you first. We have an after abortion study that we're doing, 2 of them actually. We're doing a miscarriage loss, because we know that so many people that have had an abortion may experience miscarriage as well. We're doing a codependency class, right? Because we know that we have root causes that cause us to behave and choose in ways that are unhealthy, right? And so we're doing a codependency class. We have a sexual trauma. You know, when we were affiliated with the pregnancy center, so often clients would come in and be more willing to talk to us about their sexual abuse than they would to disclose their abortion. You know, so if we can use that as an entry point, we will. And I'm forgetting one. Let me see. Our book, our new book.
Yeah, but Unraveled.
How could I forget that one? Unraveled Roots. Yes. And so that's really all about the root causes that drive our behavior. You know, so often we find ourselves repeating the same behavior over and over again and can't figure out why and don't know how to stop it. And so we're going to talk about those things in the book. I wish I was within arm's length of one of them, but I don't want to go out of camera to get one. The video at the end will show the cover of the book, so you can get that. Well, guys, I am just so thrilled that you joined me today. We've been on for about 40 minutes. I want us to wrap up with giving them information on how they can get plugged into one of your virtual groups, or how they can do one-on-one, where they can go to purchase your books, and any final thoughts you have. I would imagine that there's ministry leaders out there, pregnancy centers, people that have been impacted by abortion. Just your final message to the viewers that are watching us today.
Sure. If you want to sign up for the upcoming training, or if you want to look for support after an abortion, if you're watching this and you need help, and this is bringing up the past to you, please contact us. Everything is confidential. We're not going to ask you to go tell your story anywhere or anything like that. It will just be between you and the person who walks this journey out with you. And so I encourage you to either get in touch with Support After Abortion or SaveOne.org. And to purchase the books, you can look. We've got t-shirts and bracelets and mugs and totes and books and all kinds of stuff at SaveOne.org/store. Or if you just go to SaveOne.org, you can inquire about it. There's an area for pastors. If you're a ministry leader and want to know how to bring SaveOne to your church or your pregnancy center, fundraising banquets, or whatever, there's a little inquiry that you can do, and just get on the website. There's all kinds of stuff on there. So I just encourage you to not wait one more day. One of the greatest decisions I ever made was that hard one of dealing with my past abortion. And I've never regretted that, dealing with it and getting it behind me and recognizing that it is forgiven under the blood of Jesus. And so anyway, you have any afterthoughts?
For the men that are out there, I would just want to encourage you. There are millions of men that are hurting in the U.S. and around the world. And you can make a difference in their lives. You can step forward. You don't have to have had an abortion to be able to minister to someone. So check us out on the website, SaveOne.org. Look and contact me on there. I would love to talk to you and get you started on that path. If you're a man and you're hurting, we want to talk with you. We want to help. We're here. That's exactly what we're here for, is to help those that are hurting after abortion, to help you recover. And that's our goal with you. So we would love to talk.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And just for us, if you are interested in any of those virtual groups that I told you about, you can go to our website, www.supportafterabortion.com. The miscarriage loss group is co-ed. All the ones that I mentioned are for women, but we are starting 2 men groups. We're doing an after abortion recovery group with Chris Rainey, who's the author of Healing the Father. That's going to begin on Tuesdays from 6:30 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. And we're also going to do a codependency group, which I believe is on Mondays from 6:30 to 8 as well. So if you go to our website under resources, virtual group, you can register right online there, and there's the link for you to be able to purchase your book. And yeah, so if you need any help, if you're struggling after an abortion, you can contact Support After Abortion. What we do is connect men and women that have been impacted by abortion to people and programming that can help them sort through their emotions, walk through the grief and loss process, and find closure. You know, and so SaveOne is one of the resources that we refer to. We do provide direct client services ourselves, but we really want to get people connected to the resource that's going to help them heal the most. It's all about you.